He's for the game. He's for the Viking. He's a big Viking. He thinks he's awesome.
Hey everybody, this is me, the Undead Viking, and this is a game called Illuminatus. You are the conspiracy. Okay, alright, it's called Illuminatus. Illuminatus is a game where each person is going to be in charge of like a government behind the government, the shadow government, if you will. And each person is going to be trying as hard as they can to get their agenda solved, to get their agenda put forward, and take over the world. And obviously, like, the players are going to be combating each other because each one feels like they should be the one that is in control of everything. There's only room for one, right? So way back in the day, I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with the game, but definitely a game that I picked up and I still own and I still play fairly often is a game called Illuminati. Now that game was from Steve Jackson Games, and it was this idea of like you were in charge of one of these big super groups, and you kind of control everything. Now that was a completely different game from this, but definitely I'd have to think that this game was inspired by it, just because of, not just because of the name or anything, but the idea that, like, yes, I mean, there is just this puppet governments out there that you are controlling, and I like that idea. Now I don't ascribe to any of those conspiracy theories. I don't think that there's like some weird super group out there that is controlling everything. I think it would be crazy to think that there isn't, influence that goes on. I had a great uncle who used to swear that there was like some, ultimate like super bank somewhere that controlled everything, and it was just, and he would go off on it, especially after he'd had a few screwdrivers. But I guess in a way that's like, I'm laughing, but I mean it was quaint in its own way. But I don't ascribe to it. But I do think that think about that is kind of fanciful in a way. I like reading those books. I like reading the idea of those things. I definitely bought into the Illuminati idea. I had like a GURPS campaign a long time. GURPS Illuminati. We had a campaign a long time ago that was that, and it's a fun idea that I like role playing out, and I like the story that it tells. So I knew I was probably going to like this, and I did. So let me go ahead and show you how the game is played, and then we'll come back here and we'll talk a little bit more about it. Now, admittedly, I'm just going to warn everybody that this definitely has a lot of tongue-in-cheek references and things like that. It is satire, but it's possible that like some of the cards and some of the things that are politically minded or anything like that, and trust me, there is no like political agenda behind this. They skewer everybody with the cards. But just letting you know, I mean, this is a game that definitely likes to poke fun at the kind of the world that we're living in. So if that offends you, maybe pause and go to another video. But all right, cool. All right, so here is the giant game board for Illuminatus, and there's 4 decks of cards, as you can see, and each player is going to have one of these little mats that they're going to put in front of them. Now, you'll notice that there are 2 separate parts here: a black budget and the IMF, or the Illuminatus Monetary Fund. You notice that line there. What happens is that each person gets one of these player screens. This is your like secret lair. It can be whatever. It doesn't necessarily mean you are like Dr. No or what have you. But you just take one of these. I like this spooky castle guy, and the inside actually has very helpful information as far as how to process your turn, which is always nice to have on there. And then you just take this and you place it like so over that, so you can keep your stuff secret behind you, and then everybody can see kind of how much money you have, but they don't know exactly how much money you're keeping behind there. All right, I'm going to take that down just because it kind of blocks the view of everything, but keep in mind that you will have one of those up. Now, the next thing you're going to do is each person is going to get one of these cards that kind of tells you what like Illuminatus group you're a part of. You know, whether it's big pharma, big oil, the big O, military industrial, banker elite, and so on and so forth. If you have a disagreement, you can roll off to see which one you pick as far as these are concerned. But the big thing is that you get one. So I'm going to take, I like big food. So I'm going to take big food. In this game, that's who I will be. Now everybody else, you know, will take one of these as well. Then you can kind of just see, like all foods are good. Food is such an essential part of life. Why not supersize it? We must strive to encourage the masses into consuming more, increasing their waistlines, and most of all, our bank accounts. So it tells you what you start with as far as the beginning of the game, and it starts with a false flag in North America. Now, these are your false flags. What you're going to be trying to do in most cases is you're going to be trying to take over different areas of the world to control them. And the more false flags you have in an area, it's basically, a false flag represents an attack by you, but you are hiding it in some way. You're kind of destabilizing the area, so then you can take control. And so on the back side of this is this little pyramid, and this Illuminatus pyramid. So if you eventually put enough of these false flags into an area, you can eventually turn it, you can attack it again, and then take control over that spot. And in a lot of cases, winning the game has to do with taking control of those areas. So I'll just go ahead and put that one in there as well. And then gives me a special ability. Once per game, I can gain +3 gold and 1 false flag in any location. But that'll give me +2 infamy, which is bad, because this is the infamy level here. And if you ever get 100 infamy on this track, what happens is that you are revealed and you're out of the game. It doesn't happen very often, but it can. And then you get +1 doom. And there's also a doom track. And I haven't put all the player pawns on here. I just wanted to, this doom track is also on here as well. And if that ever gets to 100, the end of the world comes, and obviously then everybody loses if that occurs. So you just have, you know, this little thing just to kind of remind you what you are, gives you your starting income, starting icons that you have, and everything like that. Which, fine. All right. So the big thing about this game is after that's done, is that you're going to get an agenda. Now, they say in the first time you play this, you should get 3 agenda cards. This is your personal attempt at, like, your agenda to take over the world. Now, you don't have to play with agendas being how you take over the world. You could say the first person that controls 5 countries, first person has a bunch of money, things like that. But, you know, this is the way I've played it. I think it's the most fun. So what it is there's, like, all these different agendas, like control the media, enslave the people, the food is mine, oil forever, you know, one world government, rebuild the military, and so forth. Now, climate hoax. So now you could take the one that, like, food is mine. You know, you can take food is mine, and you notice that there are, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those agendas. And then you go through each one trying to... And the food is mine obviously matches up with big food. But you don't have to do that. I mean, you could do control the media if you wanted. You could do one world government. You could do oil forever. It doesn't matter. But for the sake of this video, I'm just going to take food is mine. Alright. So, and then if there's ever a disagreement, like one person wants the food is mine and I want food is mine, you do a roll off with the dice. Whoever gets the most successes with the dice. And I'll show you the dice here in just a second. We'll get to choose that. And so, like, the first thing is destroy organic troops. Crops. Droughts brought by geoengineering plus toxic elements we spread like aluminum will destroy organic crops. Create a false flag in Southern Asia and North America to get the farmers ready to accept our GMOs. Meaning success, and it gives us, you know, this... like +1 to our gold bullion, but also it creates this little, like, chemical fallout, which are represented by these particular tokens, and those can actually, like, really destabilize areas, but you can clean them up by spending money if a person needs to clean it up for some reason. And so, and if you do that, then you move on to developing GMO crops. And then that is perform basic and medium research to discover the best technology to achieve this goal. I'm not going to go through everything, but there is a research phase during your turns where you spend money to be able to do different research to get certain powers and so forth. Anyway, so if I was able to get through, all of these, this food through all 4 of these, or all 5 of these, I should say, before anybody else, then I would complete my agenda and I would win the game. So just keep in mind, and these are kept out. People can see those, and you can fight against somebody and try to prevent them from achieving that. All right, so to begin the game, each person is going to get 2 event cards. Now, event cards have like certain things that when you play them, you'll also be drawing an event card at the beginning of your turn, and then you have to and then you play one. Sometimes you'll get a card that says play immediately. I did not get a play immediately card, but if any of your starting 2 cards are a play immediately, on your turn you have to play those, including if you get a play immediately card when you draw one. So you could play all 3 of your event cards, possibly. And if that ever happens, if you ever get like play immediately cards, you're basically going to be playing the event card you draw. But that's going to be, it's never happened. Theoretically it could, but it hasn't. So here's like email server scandal. That's kind of a suggestive little picture there. But I don't know how it works digitally at all. What, like with a cloth or something? And that's my excuse, Your Honor. You believe me, don't you? If the public don't buy it, target faction rolls 8 dice, gains as many infamy roll, doom counts as infamy, ignore any other results. Obviously, this is a very topical card. You know what I'm getting, where we're going with that. But that's a card that you can play, and you can target somebody else that's playing. You can kind of mess with them. So you get 2 of these, and then you get 8 of these black bag cards. Now, you're always going to have 8 of these in your hand. At the beginning of your hand, you'll draw up to 8, and then in your next turn, you get to draw back up to 8. The big thing with these is that you can get more into your hand through other means, but for the most part, you're going to have these. Now, these are the cards you're going to be using on your turn to make your attacks. Also, on the bottom of each one of these cards, like here, this little number here, that is you're going to, whenever you attack a region, that number on there, you're going to pick one of those cards up, and then you're going to end up discarding it. But that is the number that is the number of successes you need to successfully attack an area. So it's kind of like a random amount that's there. I'll get to attacks here in just a moment. I'll show you how that works. But, so, these things are like rare frogs. It's, oops, no one likes being a cute rare frog, so you get caught in the crossfire. This attack has drawn attention to you. Play out of turn when a player is attacking. You pay above costs, so you have to pay all these costs to do that. And then target a player then rolls 3 dice, counts any infamy or doom, ignores other results. So this is something you could play, not on your turn, to mess with somebody. Now, let me find a card that has an attack on it. Like this one. Alright, so here's a Scud missile. So it's a classic battle-tested mobile launcher capable of deploying a chemical or other special payloads. Useful tool on occasions to solve a problem. So it's obviously an attack card. This is the cost to use it. This is how much gold you have to spend, then infamy and doom. And then it adds +4 power dice to any attack. And also, you can see that it has a chemical reaction. So, well, sometimes you don't want to use these to, like, attack certain areas because you don't want to put that chemical spot there. But, remember, like, in my first thing is that I want to take that and I also want to leave a chemical, reaction to the area that I'm attacking, right? I want that food to be destroyed. So, this is actually a pretty good card. Now, the +4 power, what that is you'll notice that, like, Big Food has 4 power, meaning that if I do a power attack, I'm going to have 4 dice. If I have a +4 power to my attack, I'm going to have 8 dice total. Some things will have, like, cunning. Like, so here is, they have WMDs. It's an attack, +3 cunning dice to any attack, or used to cancel all infamy from any attack. So you could use this to add cunning dice for a cunning attack. Or, so like in that case, you'd make your attack, you use your cunning ability that's on this, and then you add the +3 dice. Or you could play this to, like, and you can't play it after the fact. You can't wait until, like, oh my gosh, I got like 27 infamy from that. I don't want to do that. But if you play this in accordance with the attack that you're doing, then you can go ahead and, like, you'd remove all of those. So I like the fact that a lot of these cards have double effects and things that work like that. Alright, so how exactly does an attack work? It's pretty simple. On your turn, what you're going to say is, I want to I'm going to attack, North America, and I'm going to attempt to, destabilize North America or whatever, and I'm going to use that power attack to do so. Now, if it's the first attack ever, what you're going to do is you're going to flip this token over. This is kind of an interesting thing because it has a 1 on there. Now, some of these are going to have more than 1. Let me see if I can find one. So here's like a 2. Some of these will have a 3. Of course, I can't find them. So it's going to be a 1, 2, or a 3. And of course, I can't find one now. But they're 1, 2, or 3. And that's the number of your false flags that have to be in that area before you can attack it again to, flip one of your false flags over. Now, we have a lucky situation where we actually have a false flag there. We're attacking again. Now we're going to be able to flip that and take it over. So now the big thing is, how many successes do we have to attack? So we're doing an 8 power attack, remember, with that Scud missile. And so we're going to go ahead and turn this over. And we're going to see on the bottom here that this is a 4. Now remember, like, as you're playing these cards, if other players don't want things to happen, you can... like, people can play cards and stuff, and this is one of those cards again. This was in somebody's hand. The public, makes it more difficult for an attack to succeed, increases defensive value of target region, plus 3 successes required. So somebody could play this out of turn to mess with you. But normally, let's say it's 4. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our 8 dice, which are all the dice here, and we're going to roll those, and we're going to hope we're going to get 4 successes. Now, on each one of these dice, there is a thing that says Infamy on there. There's a Doom, and there's a thing that has this 1 success. And I'll talk about the grenade here in a second. And there's a thing that says 2 successes. Now, a grenade and another grenade, if you get 2 of these together, and if you get 4 or 6 or whatever, you get to draw another black bag card and put it into your hand. But let's just see what happens here. We got to get 4 successes on these 8 dice. So I think I did it. Yep. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I would gain 2 infamy for doing it. So I'd have to go up on the track, infamy track 2, and I would get a black bag card because I could roll those 2 grenades. And then what I could do is I could flip this over like so, and I could say, I am now like the Illuminatus. I control North America. I'm behind the scenes, and it's kind of a neat thing to say too, right? Big Food is in control of North America. And because it was a chemical attack, remember, we're going to go ahead and place that on there as well, because we use that Scud missile. That's the most basic attack you're going to do, is that. Now, at times, if you have flags in an area and somebody wants to attack their flags, they can do so, and they have a defensive 6, and of course then you can play cards that would defend against that. If you actually have taken over a country, like so, people can attack that as well. They have a defense of 8. You can also attack a person directly, and if you succeed in attacking them directly, you can steal money from their black budget fund. Now, so your black budget fund has money in it that you use for purposes, and also the IMF has, and this is what the money up here is the money that you use to actually pay for your attacks. You should be splitting it as you get your income. You should be splitting it up in between the two. But because because you can't all just group it together. But like when you attack somebody, you do steal it from their black budget fund. All right, so after you've done your attack and succeeded or unsucceeded or whatever, then at that point you can spend money on research. Research costs money. You can spend 2 gold and just collect the top card off the deck. You can spend 4 gold and then take the top 4 cards, pick one, and put the rest in the discard pile. Or you can spend 6 gold, take the 6 cards, keep one, and put it underneath. Then you can, if you want to, activate research or other cards by placing them near your player screen face up if you wish to. If you have any unwanted black back cards, you can discard those, because remember at the beginning of your next turn, you're gonna collect back up to 8. And if you want to, you can move any gold that you have between the 2 sections on your player board if you so desire. After that's done, you get paid. You're gonna earn your money. You're gonna earn 3 gold, basic. For every false flag that you have out on the board, you get 1 gold. And then if you have like a government out there, you will get 2 gold, just basic for that, plus whatever their resistance was. So in the case of North America, I get 2 plus 1. I get 3 gold for controlling North America. And if you've completed any of your agendas, that's when you get that bonus gold, your bonus income. So like plus 1 gold if you had completed the food is mine, and so forth. And that's the bonus that you would get. After that is done, play just goes on to the next player, and they can go ahead and do their thing at that time. Let me just show you a couple of research cards quick, and then I'm going to tell you what exactly I think of this fun game. Alright, so let's say we did the top 4 here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, grab too many. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we drew 4, and now we're going to go ahead and pick one. So, like just for example, weather can be used as a force multiplier. We can now modify the weather to enhance our own ends. Grants activating player plus 1 dice to any attack if attack occurs in the same round as weather event is played. Plus 2 dice to any attack. Card stays in play once activated until cancelled by another card. So that's one that will stay available and keep going. However, like you can go like here, like this Jade Helm. Here we have the Jade Helm. Mythical artifact that grants activating player plus 1 dice to any roll. Card stays in play once activated until canceled. Oh, that's another cancel by other card. Sorry. Here we go. Triggered. So when weak-minded people are easily offended and might find something offensive, causing them to overact and throw a tantrum. When activated, weakens any target region, reducing defensive strength by 2. When activated, costs 2 doom per turn, and the card stays active for 2 turns, and then it is discarded. So, and once again, as I said at the beginning, this, you need to have a little bit of a sense of humor as far as this game is concerned, because it is a little bit sarcastic, if you will. But you have different research cards that you can play, and then once you can activate those as you wish. So there you go. That is Illuminatus. Obviously, I stand by my theory that this was definitely inspired by the classic Steve Jackson game, but it went in a different direction, which I was really excited about. This felt, strangely, like an amalgamation between this game and an older game that you may be aware of called War on Terror. It kind of felt like the same kind of feel or whatever. Not exactly, but I definitely got glimpses of both of those. Regardless, this is a game that is right up the alley of my gaming group. We really enjoy these games where we get to kind of take control of like that shadow government type of thing, and we enjoy that aspect of it. The art is fun, the cards are fun,
thanks for learning how to play
it is a
Illuminatus.
very
Like I
nice
said, the game isn't
satire,
really difficult. It is
but let me talk more about all of that.
Once you get in the flow of it, it's just the attacks and everything like that. Now, the games like this is definitely a throwback game. I mean, this is a game that I would have expected to see and be very popular back when I was growing up, back when I was in my 20s or even my teenage years. That doesn't mean to say that it isn't fun and it doesn't have its place now. I do think that a lot of people, like a lot of newer gamers, probably haven't been exposed to a kind of a classic, Ameritrash or thematic game such as this. I do think that this is going to appeal to gamers of my age that grew up in like that Steve Jackson era, if you will. But that does not mean that more people can't have fun. I think there should be more games like this. I'm all for playing games that are like big thinky games. I'm all for big puzzly Euro thinky games. I enjoy those. I enjoy being able to sit there and figure those things out. But sometimes I just need a game where I am, I have a story-driven narrative. I have a purpose. I have a goal, and I am in direct conflict with everybody else trying to get that goal done. Now, be that a war game or a miniatures game or a game like Illuminatus, I enjoy those types of games, and I think there's a lot of gamers that do. Definitely, this is somebody that is going to be looking towards a more thematic end as far as the game is concerned. I do find there's a couple of things that I really, really liked about the game that I thought, because, as I said, this is a game that, like, as you turn the cards over and you play them and you kind of screw each other over, that's where the laughs and the fun comes from. But mechanically wise, I liked a couple things that were really, really good about it, and they have to do with the scoring, the Infamies and Doom track. I thought that was ingenious. It basically, a lot of these games, end up taking too long. It's like Illuminati. The Steve Jackson game was one of those games. It was just you would get into a situation where everybody was just like up against it, and like the one person would get ahead and getting close, then you'd everybody gang up on that one, drain them, and then another person get close and you gang up on that one. And there's lots of games out there, and that's like a downfall of a lot of these narrative games. But here you have a game where, as the game progresses, you're pushing up a Doom track, and you're pushing up your infamy. And I thought the infamy and Doom track was perfect. You couldn't just slam on the accelerator and just start attacking willy nilly, and you'd knock yourself out of the game by getting too much infamy. You couldn't just completely just blow up the world, if you will, because you can cause the end of the world as well, not just from the Doom track, but by irradiating too many zones, by putting too much nuclear fallout, things like that. I mean, there's even rules for like when you might nuke a certain spot, but then you have to roll the die to see if like the winds actually spread the nuclear fallout and do more damage to the world. So that your idea that I'm going to make this chemical attack here, which is hideous, when you think about it. I mean, you just have to kind of realize, once again, this is just a game. But then you have to actually see if it spreads and like actually will damage something that you need. So, I like the fact that it forces you to really be a secret group, right? Because you have to lurk in the shadows. You're behind everything, but you can't let everybody know that you're behind everything, right? So, who's going to like this game? I think people are going to like this game if they enjoy a good satire. I think they're going to like this game if they like that old school feel. And I think anybody that enjoys like controlling a group of whatever that wants to rule the world and kind of embodying that evil megalomaniacal person, I think that you would enjoy checking this one out. So there you go. If you have any questions about how the game is played, please ask. I'll be happy to answer those as best as I can. Thank you very much for taking the time to watch this video. And until next time, you have yourself one heck of an awesome day. All right. Bye-bye.